We'll call the meeting to order. Mr. Dave Lucas.
Aye.
Ms. Angelina Harden.
Present.
I'm present. Ms. Deborah Gate.
Present.
Mr. Bayard. Present. And Taylor McCoy.
Here.
Okay, you guys can join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The flag of the state of New Mexico, is a symbol of perfect friendship among our peoples.
Next is the recognition of the state volleyball champions. I ask that we move this to the next meeting. Unfortunately, the head coach is also the basketball coach, which they have a game today. And most of their players also play basketball, so they cannot attend to the
The next meeting will be after state championships, so they should be available unless they're playing softball, track, something.
Mr. President, can we go back to board norms? We
I
skipped it.
apologize for skipping that. My apologies.
Number one, actively listen to all perspectives.
Your closing loop responding to concerns or questions as a unified board.
Professionalism we expect from all members of the district and community. Customer service orientation.
I don't have any audio. There we go. Thank you.
You ready? Assume positive intent.
Required, be positive and thank you for my apologies for missing Steve. So we talked about E, we'll move on to F. You want a student of the month presentation for January and February?
We don't have any kids here again. I just was looking up to see who was participating in basketball. And we only have one that was mentioned, that doesn't necessarily what they are. So what we're going to do so that we don't get them too far behind is that I'll go ahead and we will here. And then they can just present it.
I can take it, my son.
Yeah. And I think I read January once, so I'll read February. The Snell Middle School Student of the Month for February is Yasmin Sandoval. Ms. Gonzalez wrote, Yasmin is one of my student assistants and a student in my classes and works hard every day, not just with things I ask her to do, but in trying to maintain her grades and improve her classes. She works hard and consistently shows up to school with a positive attitude. She is an insightful role model to her peers and should be recognized for her work. She good. The Cobre Student of the Month for February is Jacob Arias. Mr. Groff wrote, Jacob Arias is a highly deserving student of the month at Cobre High School. He is actively involved in band, mariachi, golf, basketball, cross country, and the National Honor Society, showing an impressive commitment to both academics and extracurricular activities. Jacob consistently demonstrates outstanding character and leadership, a positive attitude in everything he does. He approaches challenges with determination, treats others with respect, and sets a strong example for his peers through his work ethic and integrity. So I'd like to congratulate all of these students, and we will present these.
You want me to take those and give it to them, or do you want to do it?
Well,
And I know the principals have reminded them, and sometimes, having parents, show up, they have other commitments and stuff, but I know they were all
Thank you,
reminded
Ms.
to be
Pfeiffer.
here, so,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Well, congratulations. Colonel. Next, we have number 2, the adoption of agenda.
I usually ask Mr. Piper if he has any suggestions or changes.
I suggest we amend the agenda. Basically, you've already mentioned that we're going to do the volleyball, but I think with the approval of the agenda, we'll go ahead and table the recognition of the volleyball players till next month.
Can we just postpone since it's not an action item?
Sure, we'll postpone.
So I'd like to make a motion to adopt the agenda and ask that we postpone the recognition of the state volleyball championships until our next meeting.
I have a motion. You'll second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I think that'll be nice because I think our next meeting is at.
Have I got the right
Is that
one?
correct?
Yes.
So that'll be nice.
Next, number 3, student representative report.
I need a current agenda.
I can have.
Here's one.
Thank you.
So again, next is the student representative report. Ms. Tatum.
Okay. Thank you for having me here today. One thing I did want to mention was that a lot of students are really upset that we're having to pay $35 for a prom ticket. Grant County is poverty, so with it being almost doubled, it brings a lot of financial stress to students. I've been hearing a lot of that issue being brought up. The potholes in the back parking lot did get fixed, and it actually looks really pretty back there, so thank you. A lot of students were talking about in the student parking lot that you can't really see the lines, like it's just empty. And then there's also like a lot of mud that causes them to trip, and some I guess have fallen from what I understand. So they're really upset about that. We have 9 wrestlers that are going to go to state. So congratulations to them. And I believe that is all I have for today. Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment.
Go to A, discussion of the items that she just.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
When I was in school 150 years ago or so, our proms was all free. It was all paid for by the school.
Yes, and there's a lot of schools that do it that way too. But
Well, I understand right now families can't afford it. I mean, $20 is a lot of money if you're raising kids.
So my daughter went to prom last year, and I don't remember if it was a fee. Was it a fee?
it was $20, but this year it's $35, so it's almost doubled. Because supposedly they're adding like a little snack to it. But a lot of students feel like it's taking the purpose away of like proms to go out and eat, take pictures, and they feel like that purpose is kind of being taken away, especially the seniors.
I will look into that. Now, is it held at a venue in Silver? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Do you know if there's a charge for that? The venue?
Like, what do you mean?
I mean, are they charging I mean, my,
For the building.
my prom was at the high school.
It's not, so it's not at the high school?
No, it's,
They moved it to the convention center, which a lot of people were upset about as well, because it's always been in the high school gym.
Fee for the use that convention
right,
center. Through a system.
and the other, thing that I heard mentioned was also security was needed. If, that was gonna be,
If it's over 50 people, I just rented it for a private
okay,
party and
yeah,
Yeah.
so.
the large
they
room was
require it, right.
$500. And if you have over 50 people attending, you have to get security, and then you also have to pay for insurance.
Right.
Where's it held at?
The Silver City Convention Center.
The what?
The Silver City Convention Center.
Okay.
Is it still the junior class that fundraises?
Yes.
Was it due to the maybe Cobre Silver game being canceled too? Because I know that's a big fundraiser for them, their concession stand.
They've always just said that it was going to be at the convention center. Like even when I was in that class, because I skipped a grade.
No, right.
That's the way they were going to do it.
No, but I mean for the additional cost, because they didn't, usually they fundraise for the prom, right? Like the
Yeah.
decorations. And that's a huge fundraiser for them running the concession stand at that
They just said it was
specific
due
game.
to like the snack.
That game was for this year.
Okay.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have affected our fundraising.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So why is it not being held at the high school?
Because that's what the junior class wanted.
Cause of what?
That's what the junior class wanted.
They wanted it.
If I
Was there,
remember correctly, I graduated in 2000. But even prior to that, I'm always going to find it. Kind of the tradition.
Yeah, a lot of us seniors were upset when we heard that it would be at the convention center.
So, would there be a policy on that the prom should be at the high school?
I don't think
I
there's
don't
any
think there's a
policy or
policy
anything.
right now, but I'm sure Mr. Pfeiffer can look into it and see.
And I'll look and see if they've signed a contract or anything. And, honestly, my opinion is, I think you'll have better attendance if they don't have to pay. Is that $35 a couple or a person?
I am not sure on that.
So I'll check into that too, because, I mean, if that's a person, that's $70 a couple, and you're gonna have to eat at McDonald's rather than go to a nice restaurant if you're going to prom. So,
Right.
yeah.
And then I also felt like it was a long distance since this is Bayard, and to have it in Silver is kind of far away.
I agree. So if you can look into that, because
I will.
even if they did go into a contract, that'd have to go through you, right?
Through the board, wouldn't it?
I mean,
No,
No, because it's a small contract.
small
Yeah.
contract, but at least Mr. Pfeiffer would be aware of it. Well, so hopefully.
I hope so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that if
So,
they did do a
yeah, so
contract-
I'll check into that. I've got some other things at the high school tomorrow, so I'll check into that as well. And
When is prom scheduled?
April 17th.
so we have some time.
Well, I'm glad to hear that Mr. Pfeiffer assisted us on getting the pothole in the back.
Yes,
It's
thank
part
you.
of that discussion as well. So thank you, Mr. Pfeiffer, and your maintenance for assisting with that issue.
I do not believe so. Skills USA will be attending state next month. So a lot of career and technical education students will be furthering their education on that. And we will compete at the state conference in Albuquerque the 18th through the 21st. And I believe that's all I have for today. Yes, sir. I'm the president. Thank you.
Any more discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is number 4, public input. Maybe item A, agenda items. If anybody, anybody
I've got some stuff that's not agenda.
that would fall under items of concern. Okay, so there's no, give it till B. So there's nobody, or you have Mr. Goodell? Come on.
Well, my reason you asked me about the flag, the table, why didn't you change it?
So.
It won't fit
My
here, Tom.
understanding is that, you see that there's a little hole up there?
Yeah,
So we didn't want to either make another hole or some, but we will get that fixed, because I think you were absolutely right about the flags being,
There's another issue. Those deals on top of it are not supposed to be on it either.
Mr. Lucas had mentioned that before, so.
American- Should be higher than the other. There is a copy of the flag law.
Yeah, this one should be
that
lower.
You can look up.
Well, this one was higher. Yeah, we got to put it to the title.
Okay, no problem. So, Mr. Cadell, I just need you to come up to the mic and just mention your name so that we can put your comments in the minutes.
See what?
Can you come up to the mic and just mention what you said
You can't hear me?
No,
for the minutes, sir, and for the people that are watching online, they can't hear you reference this. I thank you for your input, though.
You want to go over it again?
Yes, sir.
Like I told you earlier, I understand the problem with, you don't want to park anymore. Okay, in other words, acknowledge that. Okay, that's fine. But those ornaments on top of it are not supposed to be on. And you need to take them off. And that goes everywhere in these public meetings. And there is a copy of the flag law. Now, you can look them up. I've got some somewhere, I don't know where they are. I did the same thing here in Central at City Hall years ago over there. Oh, and there's one other issue. The reason I wanted to speak last time was there was disagreement among somebody on the board, and I couldn't understand out here, I couldn't, what the argument is about. And that's all I wanted to know was an explanation of what's going on. So we can, not only me, but the whole public can understand what you guys are in disagreement over. And then maybe you'll get more feedback from the public, you know. Hopefully you take that into consideration. Thank you.
So that was A, agenda items.
Are we still under public comment?
We're still under public comment under A, the agenda items,
The green light doesn't work.
and then we're going to go to B.
Okay, can I address the board?
Yes, you can.
Okay, good evening. My name is Luis Quinones. Just want to wish you a good meeting and productive meeting. There's so much that goes before a school board. I served in a small school board here in Albuquerque. I know there's so many issues that come before the board and personnel, student issues, and especially important one, of course, is to keep the district squeaky clean on finances. But there are so many other things. I'm keeping up with the Cobre district through the sports programs and the extracurricular activities. My goodness, doing great. Congratulations to the volleyball team. Right now, I get notices on the basketball teams. Both the women's and the men's are doing very well, and the mariachi is still going. So that is awesome. That's a good program that we started in 1995. But the reason I wanted to address the board is just to refresh the memory in case they needed it. We have a proposal before the board that we submitted in August, and of course, going through the process that was initiated. I think now we're at a time where an ad hoc committee for the renaming of the Cobre baseball facility, perhaps adding the name of Dr. Abe Armendariz. That is the purpose of our proposal. So I resubmitted the letter of application, if you will, and also a newsletter with many community members and former Cobre High School baseball players who are calling for this change. So I just appreciate all you can do, and just keep us in communications on what's going to be happening. And we appreciate you. And I think that's all I have to say. Have a great evening and a great meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ricardo. Next,
You're welcome.
letter B, items of concern, still under public input.
Let me look. I forgot what I was doing. Been a long day. Okay. Over at the high school. From the highway on the parking lot over by the shops. Someone went in, poisoned all the vegetation, cut the trees down. That's causing flooding downstream through the golf course and onto private property. It's damaged one well and put silt on another property. The growth on the banks in the golf course was sprayed with poison to kill it. I talked to a retired Forest Service guy today that plays golf there every day, and unless it's raining. But he said that his job was working on after fires and floods, and he says no more than what's there. He would suggest going in and filling the one place that's really bad, that washed out. It's probably waist deep on a 6-foot person. And it's a hazard. I'm sorry, and there's brush piled up in the drainage ditch right before you leave the golf course. And the fence line, there's a post missing, or not missing, the ground's missing out from around the concrete. And that's going to have to be taken care of. So, and there's, I asked him, and I've asked Brad and a couple other people, on a good day when the weather's nice, there's an average of 15 people a day out there. People walking their dogs, people practicing golf, kids out there just sitting and talking, some kids playing. Here's my pet peeve. Handicap accessibility. At the Bayard grade school, to get up to the school, I either have to park just out of the fire lane, get my wheelchair out, get my walker out, get the wheelchair to the curb, lift it, step up on the curb, leave my walker there, and then go into school. If I park in the lower lot, I have to go up backwards because it's so steep. And then going down, wheelchairs don't have brakes. They either stop, flip, or you burn your hands up. The top parking lot, coming down, you're burning your hands going down. There you are again, going up that hill backwards, except now you've got cars coming in. And I can't turn enough to look behind me to not get hit by a car if one's not paying attention. And I'm already in a wheelchair. I don't need to be bedridden again for another 2 years. And there's the building where they have the groceries and the clothes and stuff. There's a window falling out that needs to be some attention. The high school, we got a mold problem all along that one walkway. And if it isn't taken care of for long, we're going to have a real issue. And the sidewalks are pathetic. And then that's another thing. If it's raining, a person in a wheelchair that doesn't have a motorized wheelchair, that's a long haul to get into the office doors. There's got to be a better solution for that. And
Mr. President, it's my recommendation that we hear these items so we can have a longer discussion on items 6C and 6D. It seems to fit into those two subject areas.
Okay,
I
well,
know there's a time limit of 5 minutes, so
I've only got a couple more things anyway.
We have a couple more minutes.
When you abstain from a vote, you have to have a reason, whether you're prejudiced to it, you don't like it. You got to have a reason, and then the board can vote to decide. And if you do vote or do an abstain, it's not counted as a yes vote, it's counted as a no vote. There is one thing, and I can't remember what it was, that makes it a no vote. Oh, and I talked to a couple more people, and we got some that's going to quit, we've got some that has quit, because they feel that their private rights was violated when someone got their personnel records. Oh, and this is, I know it was a typing error, but Miss Harden's term ends in 4 years. Gilbert's term ended December 25, and my term ends in December of 26 by the paperwork. So that's something that needs to be looked at.
Now we'll move on to number 5, action items. A, approval of January 19, 2025 regular board meeting minutes.
I can't vote on them unless there's changes made.
What changes?
Well, when Gabby nominated you for president, I voted yes, not no. I may have been misunderstood or couldn't hear me right, but I don't know how it works with this school board. I don't know if you guys has a different set of rules, but the president, the mayors, nobody ever votes or makes a motion to do something. The president can say, I'd like to have a motion from someone on the board to say we need to replace a window in a building. The only time the president votes or the mayor votes is if there's a tie.
I just gave you the rules on it
Huh?
before meeting. I just gave you the rules on that before meeting. It says, that
Well, I'm just telling you the way it works everywhere, but here I don't know if,
just went off with a policy.
okay. Well, that's something that needs to be looked into, and, because
Miss Charlene, is there anything with that, with the meeting minutes that Mr. Lucas is saying about?
I would like to
yeah, because I sent it to her and told her if she needed to change it, but, okay. Well, ever since that car wreck, they did 7 surgeries on my voice box, so I don't talk so good. Oh, it's on, but,
Thank you, Charlene.
and I meant nothing towards you, I just,
Okay, so anything else on the board meeting minutes for January 19th, 2020? Further discussion?
I'd still like to make a motion to approve with that adjustment that Mr. Wilgus just mentioned.
Okay, I have a motion.
A second.
Can I have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
I said yes.
Next item is discussion and approval of makeup day on March 9th for Chanel and Cobre both canceled on January 12th due to water issues.
Okay, yes, we need to make up, that day. The way the public education department has established stuff is we cannot have 5 days within a week or we lose funding, correct? So, which doesn't make a lot of sense because if we'd have tried to make it up that Friday, we'd have had 2 coaches out, 40 to 50 kids out for athletics. And so I looked at the following Friday where there were no athletics, everybody could have been there. So not only would the teachers been available, but so would have all of the students. So I thought, well, this is what's best for kids. And that's when we thought we'd do the makeup. Well, then we find out that if we change to that, and if we have 5 days in 1 week, I think we would have lost like $36,000, somewhere in there. So we need to make up the day, and we've proposed March 9th, and it's just Snell and the high school that will need to make up that day.
And you need board approval?
Yes, because we'll have to go ahead and change our calendar in that, so. And that's one of the things that, as we develop our next calendar, we're being very conscious of that, because it, you know, we just need to be able to go virtual right away and make sure that those kids are gonna have access, so.
Any questions?
That was my question, virtual.
Virtual, yes.
Are we prepared next time to have teachers have their students?
The teachers can be prepared. I'm not worried about the teachers. I'm worried about kids making sure they have their device at home to be able to go virtual, which in a lot of cases, they don't. I think especially at some of the elementary schools and stuff, they may not be taking their devices home every day. So that's always, you know, a challenge.
Well, we're February 16th, so once this gets approved, there may be some reminders to our parents and see
Right.
who has stuff and who doesn't.
Right.
If for that March 9th,
Right.
school day,
Okay.
maybe we can prepare.
All right.
I don't understand the 5-day rule. Wouldn't the March 9th be the 5th day?
No, because that's a Monday.
And that's
So-
during
and
spring
it's
break.
During spring break. We'll have
Oh.
to make it up. So it was either that or the Tuesday after Memorial Day. And so, you know, we talked to staff and stuff, and they're gonna do that. We know attendance isn't gonna be good, but, you know, the principals all have schedules and stuff to where, you know, hey, you're doing this at this amount of time, and making sure that they, have the sufficient time covered to cover what's needed, so.
So you,
And I asked Ben, I said, so you're telling me we can't do what's best for kids? Which would, you know, was very frustrating because, you know, when you've got 2 teachers out, they're gonna miss the whole day's worth of instruction, giving the instruction, because they aren't gonna hire a sub on a virtual day, typically. And then, you know, you've got 50 kids out, plus all the kids that were in those teachers' classes for the whole day, which, you know, I said, this just makes more sense. And, so Ped's looking at some of that stuff too, because, well, for example, TRC was off today. So if they have to cancel school on Wednesday or Thursday, how do they not have a 5-day week? You know, it doesn't make sense. So, and that's one of the reasons that we come to school on President's Day, Martin Luther King, so that we can, if something were to happen, we can make it up on Fridays, so.
But you're dealing with the government.
Well, all the time.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the makeup day on March 9th for Snell and Snell Middle School and Cobre High School. Because school was canceled on January 12th due to water issues.
I have a motion for a second.
Second?
First and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Move on to C, second reading and approval to policy B-1400, the school board meeting.
I'll make a motion. That's what you was asking for, right?
We have a motion,
Yeah.
I'll second.
and there's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll move on to, B, approval of bills.
What do we owe?
Yes, these were discussed in the finance committee. I was a little late getting on, but I know we did review the bills. My question I had was about Lexia, and I think Mr. Ryan clarified it was for the whole district.
And the entire year.
Right,
Correct, yes.
for the entire year for the whole district. But everything else is pretty standard, food service, our ancillary staff.
One thing I did mention during that, well, that was on the finance committee, I'm sorry. So I need a motion to approve the bill.
Well, are we sure they're all there and right, Frank? Are all the bills right and there and we're going to be current? I'll make a motion then.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
First and second, I'll approve by saying aye.
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 And now we'll move on to E, approval of PED second quarter report.
Yes, and usually Mr. Ryan speaks to it.
You have before you the financial report that was submitted to PED as of December 31st, 2025, the second quarter of the year. And pretty much it's just a cash report showing what our beginning cash was as of July 1st. Actually, ending cash for last year, June 30th, 2025. Our revenue to date, expenditures to date, and giving an ending cash balance as of December 31st, 2026. 2025, excuse me. And I'm not going to go fund by fund. I'll just kind of discuss it. The last column, the grand total. We started the year with $8,522,000. The revenue to date, $11,813,590. Expenditures, $12,071,660, giving us a cash balance as of December 31st, 2025 of $8,264,515. It also included in this report, besides the revenue and expenditures, you'll see page 3 showing our checking account balances with any adjustments such as outstanding checks, and giving the adjusted balance. And you'll see at the very last column, it shows reconciled, which means cash ties to the revenue and expenditure fund balances. And then also attached in there is all of the revenue report and the expenditure reports up through December 31st of that year. So that's those two, the revenue report and expenditure report, tie into the cash report in the existing balances. So any questions on this report? This was submitted to PED, and so this is the report that went to them. Any questions on this report? And we did discuss it on Finance Committee also in a lot more detail.
Mr. Have any questions? Anybody else? Motion to
I'd like to make a motion to approve the PED second quarter report.
do a motion in second.
One second.
A motion second, I'll approve by saying aye.
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 Motion passed. Julie, some popcorn. Next, we'll move on to new business. 6.2A, discussion on public comment. Did you want,
No, we'll just go on. We can go on. The rest of everything else is the golf course on, and it's on the agenda.
It is, there was a request for the discussion on public comment.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I thought it was true.
and so with that, the occurrence last meeting, where, Mr. Cadell, wanted to speak to an agenda item, and then, according to our policies, that's not allowed. Is the suggestion to change that so that we can actually make it a public meeting as opposed to a semi-public meeting. The comment that Mr. Cadell made, well, I didn't know what was going to be said during the board discussion on that agenda item. And he had a question then related to what was said in that discussion. And it's a very valid point. Without knowing what is going to be said, you can make your comment, but it may not address the direction that the board discusses in relating to that particular agenda item. So,
I think this is on the agenda, isn't it? To discuss,
yes,
let an audience talk.
that's what we're doing now. That's what we're
Oh,
doing.
okay. I didn't hear you.
So along those lines, I had and I can include this with the recommendation to change the policy or adopt the change to the policy next meeting, at the next meeting. But this is the train of thought that I'd like to get people's ideas on, and that is to have public comment specific to any agenda items will also be allowed in the course of the meeting. Such comments will be limited to 2 minutes per person, and the president can limit the discussion if the number of commenters is time prohibitive for the remainder of the agenda. In those cases, the president may, or any board member may propose a motion that the agenda item be repeated on the next scheduled meeting. The action being subject to the majority of the vote of the board. So I will submit that for the next meeting under proposed change to that policy.
And I'm sorry I don't hear, but my granddaughter threw my hearing aids away.
So would that constitute a first reading?
So if I may speak, Mr. President, I believe we moved to this change at the request or at the advice of our legal counsel the last time this was brought up.
The School Boards Association or?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, it's up to this board to decide whether we allow the public to talk or not.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to go through the attorney. This board is able to make that decision.
Fine. Wasn't there already a revised one back in 2024 that we all did?
Yes.
And that state, I'm trying to find it. And that's the one you want to add with the language you just said, Mr. Willow?
No, but it would actually affect this.
Okay, yeah, I have
Okay,
that.
that one.
Is that the one?
Basically,
So in essence, what you're trying to say is every item on the agenda, the public is going to, if I understand correctly, the public is going to be allowed to ask a question or something on it and have 2 minutes for that on every,
Yes.
is that what I'm understanding?
yes,
But it doesn't take that much time. That's why when I asked for this to be on the agenda, I limited it to 2 minutes.
furthermore, that makes it a public meeting. Not, board will decide everything, you have a chance to speak, a one-time chance. This will create a better understanding for the public as well as the person that's asking the question on implementation, on cost, on different other things that we may not discuss because we're more familiar with the topic than they are, and we will take that for granted that it doesn't need to be mentioned.
And it may help getting people to come to the meetings.
That would be a great thing.
Well, I'm glad you changed your mind because when you were president, I saw some of those meetings where you didn't allow public comment on that. So that's why I'm glad that you changed your mind and maybe now we can move forward to see if this board wants to pass that. I don't have an issue on that. There is somewhere on here though where it states where the board president can actually allow someone to speak. an item. So if you had a question, I can allow him what question was it, and he can briefly kind of speak on that.
But you didn't
I
allow
made, I
that.
made that comment last meeting, and
Well, I didn't know,
That- that-
remember I said I was gonna look into it. I told Mr. Goodell, I didn't
but
know.
also-
All that.
as, when I was board member for the short tenure, I allowed people to ask questions on every single item. And that was one case, especially at Bayard Elementary. We can look that one up, but there was one
The one I
person
saw that.
that didn't
But
happen.
again, I'm glad that teaching time.
I'm glad we agree. I'm glad we agree.
Would
My-
moving
my
public
only-
comment just further down the agenda, allow them to go back and ask questions on any item?
That's,
Well, there is a public comment after. But you're going, by doing that, you vote before you hear the public comment.
so what
And
I'm,
people get mad.
yeah, so what I'm gathering here, and something we're gonna have to probably even speak with student council is, we don't wanna do away with the number 4 public input, because we can't do that, right?
Correct, right.
So we wanna keep public input, agenda items, and items of concern, and what you're all requesting is, after that, have each, member from the audience ask us any questions on any other items on this agenda?
Those that have questions.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what you're proposing, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And like if Miss Ogas wants to say something as a
Even right now.
resident, it will give her a chance to do it before we vote to make a decision. Because sometimes someone from the public will have a better idea than we do.
Mr. President, my only request is that we run it by legal counsel.
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, Ms. Williams, I know that's something that you're looking into and working on, so, yeah, propose it and we'll move forward and we'll send this up for the meeting and see if we can do this.
Okay.
Just for clarification for me when I call. So after, for example, action items A, approval of the regular board meeting minutes, then we ask for public comment on that?
No. They can raise their hand and say, I have a comment on that. And if we know that if we write that into our policy to say that they can ask questions related to an item as it's being discussed, that's all it needs to be. That's all it needs to be.
So I think it's more that they're raising a question rather than making a comment.
The way the town of Bayard used to do it, I don't know how they do it anymore. But they would discuss an item, and then the mayor would say, does anyone in the audience have a question or a comment? And most of the time not, unless they're mad over the water bill or,
I don't
and
know if they do that in Bayard. I haven't seen that.
yeah, well, that's the way it was. You know, I'm in agreement with them. They leave me alone, I'll leave them alone. So they left me alone, I left them alone. Oh, and remind me to talk about the water bill.
Okay. So any more discussion on the public comment? Are we pretty clear on what we gotta do next or next step?
Yes.
All right. We'll move on to. Yes.
Right.
So they're gonna get moved back down.
That's what I
No.
was trying to say was that's
No, it'd
that's
be,
the reason we moved it up, so people didn't have to wait till the end of the meeting.
Community didn't wanna wait the whole meeting to have to say something.
So
Well,
the
yeah.
best answer I can give you, Ms. Shirley, is I'm gonna wait for Mr. Juliano's proposal and see how that's gonna look, and then send it up to legal and see where they recommend what we do, and then get back to you.
I'll send it to you tomorrow.
the way I meant it, and you may have read it wrong, because, you know, I don't write real good. We still had the public comment at the first. And then on every agenda item, if someone in the audience wants to know, they have the right to ask. And the president will say, do we have any comment from the audience? I mean, it's pretty simple. They have 2 minutes and they get cut off.
Yeah. And if there's a line, then the president can make a choice.
The one thing that can happen is, let's say you're talking and the president tells you your 2 minutes is up. Well, Ms. Ogas can say, I'll give her my 2 minutes. you can pass that.
Well, we'll see what the proposal that Mr. Leon will put together. We'll go.
I mean, you know, we can try it. If it doesn't work, we can change it. But, you know, I think it'd be a lot better to have people come in that's upset over something and maybe they don't know what's going on. But at least they can voice their opinion and we can listen to them and have an idea of what they want or what they're thinking.
So we'll move on now then to section discussion on process to identify general obligation, SB9, et cetera, projects.
I did that. Oh, I did that one. Have we any information on how much of the bond issue, the general obligation bond issue is going to be available for us to spend? Is it going to be all of it? Is it going to be some of it? How much it has to do, how much of it may have to be saved until we start doing the construction on the building, if we get there?
Yeah, I think, looking forward, we need to make sure we've conserved as much as possible for any sort of match that PSFA, PSCOC, Public School Facility Authority, Public School Capital Outlay Commission, what percentage they may want, and we want to make sure we have that available. We did visit with bond counsel in our finance meeting, and it takes roughly 3 months to sell the bond, if we're gonna sell a bond. And we decided, since we didn't have a project right away at this point, we'd hold off on selling bonds. But we have basically, was it 5 years to get the money out the door? 5 years to get the money out the door. So, you know, once we know, and I mean, I think PSFA, the PSCOC will both be excited about the project we have. If they can eliminate 2 buildings off of the top 100 of the worst buildings in the state, I think they'll jump at that. And we'll just have to see what their thoughts are according to that, and then move forward. And once we know that, I mean, the first step's going to be architectural type of stuff, and that's going to eat up a bunch of money, and hopefully they will, you know, front that stuff as well.
So is there any way you can you have, or can they provide what the process is? They've done this already a few times, so we should be able to see what they did in other schools when they built as to how much they needed to get from the general obligation bond. And also, before we go into the part of having a decision made, I would hope that we have public comment on whether we build 2 schools or 1 school. And I see a direction that we're heading towards one school to house, 1 building to house both schools. And that's a significant change, and I think it has a lot of economy that it comes with. But it is something I think that I'd like to see what the public.
And I don't know that it needs to be 1 building. I'd like to envision maybe like a college campus where maybe your math and science are in 1 building. And, you know, the high school could be in that building at one point in time. And then, you know what, due to the schedule, they'd move to the English and history building. And then, you know, the middle school could move to that. So I think maybe some sort of a campus type of thing that can be secured. And that, I think, you know, that's what we look at. And like you said, I mean, public comment, I mean, all through the design process, and that's got to be taken into consideration, as well as, you know, PSFA is going to come in and they're going to take a look at it and say, you can have a facility that's, you know, this size for this many students. And we're sharing several staff members now, which tend to be a challenge. Mariachi is one of them. You know, we've got to get kids from the high school over to the middle school because of the instruments and that. So, you know, so I think having the facilities, you know, even if it's together on the same property, but not in the same building, so that, you know, we don't have to worry about, you know, 6th graders in the hallway when there's seniors in the hallway type of thing.
So you're talking about combining the middle school and high school with the same school?
Well, I mean, that's one thing to look at. You know, I mean, and it's, well, I mean, maybe it is 2 separate schools at 2 separate sites. You know, those are the things that need to be looked at. I think, PSFA is very open to getting, both schools, off of that list, the top 100. And,
And it was a suggestion by them, just they had said other schools, districts are doing this, and it was an option. It wasn't,
right.
we're
it's-
gonna move forward with this. It's still open to public comment and what's best for students.
Yeah, definitely. And process-wise, when I was in Lordsburg, we built a brand-new high school, and the district paid $1 million, and that was it. Everything else was 100% waiver. The new furniture, the whole building, everything. The only reason we paid the $1 million was for the remodel of the district office, which they won't pay for. So, but that was, everything else was basically covered through waivers. So,
Okay, what's the concerns about the high school? I mean,
it's age, handicap accessibility. I mean, there's just a number of issues and stuff.
Also, the declining enrollment, they said the space itself would be
Yeah.
significantly smaller due to
Right.
declining enrollment.
Yeah, because there's a lot less students than there were, how many years ago?
because I've been brainstorming on that. And depending on what's going to cost to have an engineer decide what can be done. But do the repairs to the existing building, but divide it into two separate schools, have the middle school in one part, the high school in the other part. And that way you're not building a new building, you're remodeling an old building. And that may be cheaper than,
Well, and that affects us on the list to be able to be eligible for a new school building.
I can't hear you, Gabby.
I said that affects us on the list, Mr. Wilgus, for us to be able to get funding for a new building. If we make improvements and it's so far up on the list that it's in a dire situation.
And I think just economically, when you start looking at heating, cooling, those sort of things, I think the upgrades and stuff, are beneficial. And like Ms. Begay said, if we go in there and change the cooling system, we may go from 17 down to 89, or we may drop out of the top 100. So having that high priority is what we really need to look at.
Well, what I'm looking at is spending money. I mean, we did the bond
Right?
to get the school. We're supposed to pay $10,000, Frank, for engineering?
So,
And one quick, Mr. Wilgus hasn't been here to follow the legislation. And the legislation was, it used to be that if we wanted to build a new school, the Cobre portion of that was, our portion towards that construction would be 80% of the cost. It went down to 50-some% after one bill passed, and now I think it's down to 40-some%. And this actually allows us to go much less than that. So it's time sensitive. That money, there's a well over $1 billion from what I understand in that fund that is available, and it'll be taken up if we don't take it at this point. And it's one way to get rid of all our problems, including any possibility of keeping certain structures. We talked about keeping the gym. We've talked about keeping the the Performing Arts Center. And so those kind of things are still going to be able to be discussed. And that's, if we go into this process of getting public input, we can iron that out a lot better.
Well, I'm just going by how I had to do when I was in business. I didn't have the money to build a $40,000 building to have a garage, but I had $5,000 to buy an existing building and then the money to rewire and plumbing and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why,
I understand.
So I think that's always a good idea to get public input on this as well. When we changed from Snell Middle School to letting elementary sixth graders go to Snell instead of staying in elementary, there was a lot of feedback on that. Now I'm picturing myself as a parent having a sixth grader share a building with seniors and juniors. Is a topic that
Well, and I think that's where you look at, you know, different options, and that's why you hire an architect. I mean, they can come up and they can say, hey, this will work or this won't work. And, but I think, like Mr. Galeana said, I think you look at now as if we can get the waiver for 100%, I think we need to do it. I think the project in Cliff, which is, I think K-12, but probably smaller than what we would have combining the two buildings, is I want to say something like $80 million right now. So I think we're looking at a $100 million project, which $6 million is, I mean, nothing. We'll never.
We'll be happy.
Yeah, I don't think you could even do the upgrades for $6 million. So I think what we do is, if they've got the money, and I think there's just a bundle right now, that we go after it. And I think once we submit to PSFA, and PSFA says, hey, let's take a look at this project, then we'll have a better idea. And then we start getting with the public and hearing their concerns, because they definitely need to, you know, to voice their opinions.
Any more discussion? All right. We'll move on to letter C, discussion on safety and ADA concerns regarding the high school gymnasium.
I have that one. You can't walk up the bleachers safely. Nowhere, and not any aisle can you walk up the bleachers. There are several people that have mobility issues, and there's not even a suitable place to have wheelchairs in the gym. Then we have the concession stand that's up behind the balcony that makes it even difficult for people that can walk to get up there.
Anybody over 60 years old can't get up there unless they're one of these people that got good genes and they walk all the time.
And a lot of the stuff, well, the argument that I heard was that the concession stand was too small. It hasn't changed size any time of its
Actually, I
operation.
think I was told, and even before I came on the board, and maybe you can clarify, Mr. Piper, that the concession stand is out of compliance, or the one in the bottom. That's why that's not
Like
being
health
used.
regs?
I don't know, that's
Is that what it was?
something I was told.
That's what I also heard too.
So that's why they
I
have the
just heard-
concession stand on the top, which I agree with you 100%. That's just, there's a lot of, even people under 60 that don't enjoy the concession stand, because they have to walk all the way across, walk up, and walk up again, and go up there. But maybe you can check into that concession
Who
stand.
would have the information on that, you know?
All it is, it's a table.
Yeah,
right.
I know about it, it's not, they sort of running water, stoves, maybe nothing, safety.
I was going to say, that we got a cafeteria right there by it.
So what they did for power, they like the concession, but they put extra tables out to make it one big bag.
When I had the mud bog in Deming, the people that ran the concession stand cooked everything at home, brought it out there in heaters. And when they ran out of food, they ran out, but
That's a good idea. Right. But see, in this case, we have to, I guess it's just the walking, and if you're in a wheelchair or if you're in crutches, you're not going to that concession stand.
Right.
So,
and there's a lot of money made off of concession stands.
And one of the things we did when we remodeled the gym in Lordsburg was, of course, they've got that little pit sort of area. What we did was, we knocked a hole in the wall where the people with the concession stand, you know, they had to get out and walk the outside, but the people working the concession could actually see in. And maybe that's something we need to look at, that, you know, could that gym be remodeled? And granted, you aren't gonna put it right under the basket, but could it set off to the left or the right?
Well, what about the room in front where you come in? Isn't there a,
But they couldn't see the game from there.
The lobby.
yeah, but when my kids was playing basketball down in Las Cruces, the concession stand was not in the gym, it was out in the lobby.
Right.
so maybe you can come down, Mr. Piper, why the.
Yeah, I'll look,
concession stand
yeah,
not
why it
being
wasn't used.
at the bottom?
I mean, it's not that, wouldn't be that far of a walk from the table to look through the door.
Right.
Okay, and we'll just- we'll move on to letter D, discussion on golf course maintenance and budget.
That, I think is another one of mine, and that is, I took a walk with Brad Oldham, and he showed me his concerns about the golf course, and
Who's Brad? Hold on.
he lived right across the street from the golf course. He doesn't work.
Employee for the district, or,
Ogram's the one, he's the one that built the golf course.
Yep.
but is he an employee of the district?
Not
I think at
anymore.
one point he was.
Is
Yes.
he right now an employee?
He's retired.
He's a retired employee.
Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause when he first started this project, he hit every business in town. Almost every business donated money. And he took that money and 3 or 4 volunteers. Well, I donated a pot of money for it too.
So, go ahead.
They bought a lot of equipment. They bought the, what do you call it, the mowers. They put in a building up on top for storage that was bought by the community and from what I understand belongs to the community. And they've been running it for like 15 years. And they've done it all with volunteers. A couple of years ago, we talked about putting in a budget line item so they could actually plan, because getting money without having any kind of representation in the budget was very difficult. And they had spent a lot of money already from their own pockets. The work that's being done now on the golf course is not that there's not, it's not because of a lack of effort, but it's a lack of understanding of what needs to be done. There's use of herbicides, which have been sprayed on the hill that separates the golf course from the softball field. And that's a pretty big hill. Now, there are no weeds there, which may sound like a good thing, but the erosion from the rain is just pretty bad. It'll bring the rocks as well as the dirt into the golf course. And then you deal with the mowers running over rocks and running over different things like that. So it would be good if we have staff that is taking care of that be cognizant of the impact of what they're doing. They do a wonderful job about trimming around trees and different things like that. Like I said, it's not for lack of effort, just for lack of understanding of what needs to be done. And from what I understand, Brad gave Mr. Corey a list of things that would help mitigate that. And that hasn't happened. This is just, it just hasn't been happening. And the other part is that they were kind of insulted in that being volunteers, they would turn on the sprinkler system every now and then, when needed, I should say. And now a lock was placed on the box that controls the sprinklers, and they weren't given any access to that.
My understanding on that part is that we had over $7,000 worth of water bill just on the golf course alone.
But
Not every month, but it's almost there. Am I correct?
Yeah, matter of fact, when I first got here, I looked at the water bill and said, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money.
So my question is, I like golf, and I like what they're doing. You know, if the golf coach has reached out to you, I don't know Mr. Brad. There was a few messages you're gonna call this week, but I know that you all had met with him at some point. But I'm just now asking for the purpose of the Cobre District. Is Brad an employee? I understand that he probably did well, and he, all this he built it. Is when you refer to the volunteers, is that our property? Is that Cobre property?
school property, yes.
So why are we maintaining it then?
Yeah,
Why is there volunteers doing
that's-
it? Or, so my question is,
We
how
are.
are we allowing somebody to work on the golf course? Now we have bills, up to even 7,000 of water, and this gentleman is not employed by us. I don't know him, I'm not saying he's bad or good, I'm just saying, kind of looking at it like, would we do that with a softball field or with a baseball field? I don't think we would allow someone from the public to go and do this. I'm grateful that I'm hearing all these that he's done. Should we make him a volunteer? Or I'm looking at it as a liability as far as that golf course goes bad, who's going to answer for it? Who's answering for it right now? I don't know.
We have a part-time employee there that doesn't understand how to maintain
Is
it.
there a part-time employee?
His name's Joe Ramirez.
Yes.
And he broke one of the lawnmowers. He didn't understand how to make the rotors roll over the bank. And I've known Joe for 40 years or more. And
Part-time employee that helps maintain the golf.
and he
Part of maintenance.
and what happened with that? What happened with the bank was he didn't want to run a weed eater, so he sprayed poison and killed all the growth on that bank. And that's why we've got the erosion problem now.
Mr. Piper, can I ask you a question? Can I get some? How many students of our school use that golf course?
My understanding is most of them go to the Silver City Golf Course. I believe there were 6 golf team members in the fall, and now we're looking at over 20. So I don't think safely we can put the team on that small area. And like I said, I've driven by it, I haven't gotten out and walked it, but I could see it possibly being utilized for chipping, putting, some of that stuff, but I don't know, it'd have to really be well supervised. The other thing that has happened, and I haven't really gone to see where it's starting, but there's golf balls on the softball field. And so someone has told me, well, they're using it as a driving range down there and hitting balls up over and towards the softball field.
So are these our students?
I don't know
Or
that
is
they
it
are.
the
I haven't
public?
seen any of our students on the facility.
I can answer that
So
for you.
I also met with Mr. Holgram. What they're saying is the same thing he told me. I know about a few months ago or maybe a half a year ago, Mr. Corey was meeting with City of Bayard. So they could also help with the costs since the public does use the course as well. And he got them to commit to it, but then ultimately they backed down from helping with the cost because I know that was a concern with the water bill. So I mean, if we could bring them back to the table, I think that would be beneficial.
And the
And
water
I'm sorry
issue-
to interrupt you, Mrs. Harden.
No problem.
But part of the water issue was they were both watering, is my understanding, correct?
Right.
It's like one person would water, and then it was like somebody else would go and water. And
One
that's
wa-
why the lock was put on, was to at least make sure that, it didn't just go on all the time.
One watered in the morning, one watered at night.
Yep.
But there's also another problem. I don't know if Frank has told you, but the city's water meters, their smart meters aren't very smart. People's been having trouble with their water bills. Mine at one time was $150. Then all of a sudden it dropped back down to 90. So now they're getting ready to spend a bunch of money buying new meters because their smart meters are bad, but they still owe money on the smart meters that's in the ground, and they're going to buy more to replace them with. And some people's had double water bills because of
So
the meters.
what's the value? What's the value of the golf course, budget-wise? I mean, what should be spent?
Well, it's one thing, the whole town uses it.
Yep.
I mean, kids go there in the afternoons and evenings after school through the summer. They sit around under that one tree, they talk, they do things. On a good day, there's maybe 15, 20 people go there a day, walk their dogs, play golf. I talked to a guy before I come over tonight, and his suggestion, and he worked on burns for the Forest Service. He was over burn areas for Forest Service. And he suggested leave it go just let it grow back. Seed it if we could get some seed. Fill up the big place that's washed out. Take care of the problem with the fence post that's bad. And just do regular maintenance on it. But we haven't had anybody doing maintenance because Joe won't run a weed eater. Joe doesn't work on the sand trap. And the guy that was retired from the Forest Service, he's the one that's been doing the maintenance on the sand traps. So there's a lot of people, there's a lot of people donating
we should get
time
into
to keep it
personnel, like
going.
mentioning
Right.
personnel names. I mean,
So-
for their confidentiality, maybe we refer to it as the maintenance department and not a specific person within that department.
I agree with you.
I was gonna suggest, Mr. Piper, I think that there's a few things that I'm seeing it outside in, and, I like this golf course. There's just a lot of people dipping their hands in it. We need to grab a hold of maintenance department or something to the fact that this is not going on in the softball field, football field, anywhere else, or we're gonna keep this and we're gonna have a budget for it, or whatever it is. We need to have either maintenance or somebody, we need to control it. The way I'm seeing right now, anyone is working on it from the public, coming down and doing however it is. If we're responsible for it, it's our land, it's our golf course, then we need to maintain it.
Okay, now,
Is it feasible to have the golf course?
I also think too, there was initial investment of the golf course from the school district. If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Ryan, there was a phase 1 and phase 2 that the district invested in this property and the building of it. Is that correct?
It's always been owned by the district. The district did fund construction of it. I couldn't tell you how many.
Go ahead, Mr. Roman.
and the one thing, when they started doing this, that was a dump. People was going in there and dumping loads of trash and brush in there. They spent 2 years hauling the trash out of there. And the building that's there is owned by something, but it does, the building doesn't belong to the school. It
So
belongs,
we have a building that's owned by someone else on our property of Cobre Schools.
Yes.
right? And that's not all of it. Some of the lawnmowers belong to
We need
them
to do
people.
inventories. Whether we keep it, whatever we do, I think that, but I know Mr. Oleano's waited a few more times, so I would.
Well, I'm sure that the people, okay, but I'm sure the people that own the building, own the lawnmowers would be glad to sell them. But right now, he's mad and he don't want to talk to nobody. He talked to Gilbert and he's talking
And
to
I agree
me.
with you, Mr. Wilkins. I think that, I'll just say this last before then Mr. Oleano go ahead and take the mic there, is that it's in our property. It's in Cobre Schools District. It's our golf course. You either put money into it. Why are we not doing inventory? Why don't we not know what's in there? Why isn't public building there? Or we see, we can get a hold of that.
He has 5 years of golf balls that stay. He's got golf clubs. He's got cabinets full of golf clubs. Have you been over there?
No, I have not. I
Yeah.
was waiting for finance meeting and this meeting before I called them.
Well, he's leaving pretty quick.
Mr. Williams.
okay.
Go ahead.
A lot of this discussion is going on because of the chaotic method that's there. They don't have a line item. It's not recognized in budget. It is done by volunteers. It is done by also staff whenever they do have the staff person going through there. And getting a line item put in and staff assigned would be a welcome change. And the other part about the money for the water, those are two very well-versed people on groundskeeping for golf courses. And if one would water in the morning, one would water in the afternoon, it's because they agreed upon it, and that's what made it look so good. Never did I walk in there and find puddles all over the place because of overwatering. It seemed to be well taken care of, very well taken care of. As a matter of fact, Silver team has talked to us about that and say they'll occasionally use it because it's, you know, you've got some good putting area as well as you got the chipping area, and that's all it's for. Granted, the driving part, that's not there.
It's
But
practice.
if we incorporate what we have in place to be part of the system of Cobre, we won't end up with tennis courts that are being mowed over, and we won't end up with that mess again. And I wouldn't like to be a part of discontinuing something that's there for the students as well as the public. And now we have, I think it is 21 students interested in playing golf this year. I think it's time to invest in that.
And I wouldn't see a problem with having 20 kids practicing because there's enough room from one end to the other. I mean, it's good sized golf course.
You have a putting area and 2 different chipping areas.
So maybe you can meet with your staff and kind of get an idea of what's going on and come up with a
Yeah,
plan.
I'll try to figure out, maybe we can look at what a cost has been to maintain it for a year and look at that. And then see, I mean, budget-wise, there's not a specific line item, but everything they have needed, the district has bought. And-
That's not true.
Well,
No.
I mean, upkeep-wise and stuff, I mean, not being an employee, I don't think we can give them the authority to have a budget and control of a budget and that. I mean, they're gonna need to work through us.
Well, he was an employee up until he retired a couple years ago.
Right, but I mean,
He was the golf coach.
I mean, somebody that's not a member of the pub, that's not a member of the schools, can't go and say, hey, I need 50 pounds of fertilizer or, 100 pounds of seed because they're a retired employee.
That's what I'm saying, we need to get a handle on
Right.
it. I agree
So-
like with Mr. Wadana saying, you know what, that golf course looks very well taken care of. Who authorized it? How are these bills going up to 7,000? Who's responsible for all that? It looked good, though. I mean,
Dane
we just
Keenan
gotta-
was the
we
one
just
that
gotta
did.
Get a handle on it and
Okay.
we'll move on then. All right,
Okay.
okay. Next we'll have number 7, Finance Committee Report. You wanna-
I can start, sure. I was a little bit late attending the first part of it. They were meeting with bond counsel. So I came in at the end of that conversation. We discussed the bills. We went over the credit card statements. We looked at the second quarter reports. Mr. Piper went over staffing with us. And I think up at that point, I had to leave for my fundraiser at my school.
We did get a bond update, right, Mr. Rick? You want to talk to about?
Basically, just looking at, what can the bond be sent, the sale of the bonds. So that was basically, we're looking at maybe selling 1.5 million of the bonds. And since the need for the funds wasn't there immediately, that we thought we'd wait until we see, I mean, like I said, we need to contact, and PSFA sort of has a window where you can, apply and say, hey, we're interested in doing a project. And that helps them with their budget and stuff. So the next time that little window opens, we'll definitely show them, what we need. And I met with them this fall, and I was hoping that they'd open it up again in the spring. As of yet, they have not. So when they do open that up, and we'll submit a letter of interest for the project. And whether the project's a single school, a combined school, but we will at least get on their list that, hey, you know what, we're interested. And then see what they think we qualify for waiver-wise.
A question with that. The bond council has the area, we have 3 different bonds. We have the general obligation, we have the SB9, and we also have the technology bond. So would SB9 and would the electronic one be considered as part of the down payment on the building?
No, they aren't going to be part of the building. The educational technology,
Yeah,
what we would probably do, because that's running out this year, but to keep our bond up around that 10 mil, so that we qualify for the waivers. I mean, we qualify for the waivers at 7 mil due to our student enrollment. But to keep it up there around 10, it shows PSFA that you're committed to this. So if our ETNs run out, we can then renew them and keep our mill up, which is very important. Educational technology and stuff, I mean, if we get a waiver for everything with a new building, I mean, like I said, they did furniture, all the equipment that was needed. I mean, we did some visits and stuff with principals, and, you know, I mean, furniture is a concern. I mean, and if we could really address some of that, you know, through, you know, a new school situation where they cover a lot of that stuff, you know, it'd be great for the kids. I think they deserve it. So,
The last thing is, I thought we had already applied.
no. Not through PSFA.
So there has to be a window for us to apply, or is that something we can just go ahead and?
Well, I mean, they know we're interested because I met with them, but they have, like I said, they have a window that was, you know, back in the fall. And, you know, I suppose one of the saving graces is they don't care if you're behind on an audit. So if we're behind on an audit, that's fine. We can still apply for those funds and the waiver.
They do care.
Well,
They care in the sense that as far behind as we are, we have to get a fiscal agent. And that would not be the case if they didn't care.
I don't know that we'd have to have a fiscal agent for the waiver and stuff, because basically they're gonna pay the bills of the PSFA.
Oh, we'll find out when you apply, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll go through that.
Anything else? We'll move on then to number 8, audit committee report. Hardin?
We went into executive, and what much do you want to say about it?
That's all we can say.
Discuss timelines. Is there an expectation of when the audit would be complete?
Mr. Run?
They do, they have everything they need there to finish the last item.
That's what we got. Right.
And this is the regular audit, the annual audit. What about the special audit? What is that?
You can't,
You can't discuss the timeline?
well, I timeline, yeah, there, we should. But we can't talk about,
No, the content I understand. All I'm asking is the timeline.
yeah, we should.
Well, maybe, you know,
I think there was one item,
Yeah.
basically one item that they're short. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, working on that.
thank you. All right, we'll move on to number 9, board member reports. We'll start with Mr. Leonard.
I went to a training in Santa Fe and had an opportunity to go to actually PED and ask some questions around something that I'm interested in terms of our fiscal practices. And one of the things that I learned during the session is that a lot of it had to do with the Open Meetings Act, and that was pretty educational. Got to talk about things that we're looking at in terms of public comment, and as well as the votes, how they're counted. And there's there's the law, and then there's what the board wants to do. And the law does not require public input, that school boards have a public input part. And this is, we say, well, boards are elected, and while it's not required, it's certainly not prohibited. And we had that discussion that that is then the board's call if it wants to go along those lines. So I look forward to having a board that has a genuine interest for the community and their insight. Then also in another session, we talked about the grounds and physical safety, and one of the big reasons for wanting to get a new building is we can't secure the school, especially the high school. We can't secure it at all. And we don't even have a fence that meets the state criteria for safety in the schools. So there's much that we're behind on, and that we're moving in the right direction, and hopefully we can get to the part where we can say, yeah, we comply with that. But it was very educational. Got to meet a lot of different people. I really appreciated being there.
Mr. Carrillo, I just wanted to acknowledge the kids in the Little Mermaid production. I was able to go to the Fine Arts Theater and see some of our kiddos in the production. They did a wonderful job. I really enjoyed looking at the agendas that the principals sent out, especially with the littles. As an elementary school teacher, at Central Elementary just had a Super Bowl incorporation with that. I believe Herbie did a Valentine's Day celebration with their tinies. And then the middle school had a pasta making with some of their kids. And so it's really exciting to see all of these happening in our schools with our students. Thank you.
That's a good thing about our board member reports. We each see different things, different topics, different stuff. I wanted to have a few things to report. So I believe it's going to be February 20th. There is a team called Stand for the Silent that are coming down. I know that the Grand County Sheriff's Office, Bayard PD, Silver Police Department, Silver Schools, and Cobre Schools here all work together to fund this for the students. And I'll let Mr. Piper just kind of chime in on what that is.
Yeah, basically it's a bullying prevention program. Very emotional, from what I understand and stuff. So we plan on being prepared. We're bringing middle school and high school. The middle school is actually going to use it as a incentive for the sixth grade because the sixth graders have been a little out of hand. And so we're trying to get that under control. And Ms. Begay there asked if she could use it as an incentive for sixth grade. We definitely want everybody to attend and pretty sure that they'll all be able to. So it'll be at the Performing Arts Center on Wednesday, 1 o'clock. We have some high school kids. Ms. McWhorter is actually going to be one of the volunteers that's going to help with some of that. So excited about it. Silver Schools is doing it in the morning, and then we'll do it in the afternoon. And I think the cooperation between the two schools was able to keep the cost down as well as with law enforcement and that. So, definitely want to address the bullying issue and that, and it's, I'm looking forward to it.
So, thank you, Mr. Piper. Again, I went to Santa Fe and met a lot of people. Talked with Mr. Joe Bean, the president of the School Board Association, and they keep up with us. They actually read the papers and stuff. He asked some questions, so I was able to meet and talk to him as well. This week was pretty busy. I met with Mr. Piper in numerous occasions because we met with all the principals of the district. I'll be submitting to the board a report on that, on how we can possibly help the schools and what they expect from us, the principals. I do want to say that each school is very successful in their own way. From law enforcement to now talking to them about education, each principal was passionate about their students, passionate about their staff. It was really awesome for me to see that. Again, with Mr. Piper there. I also was able to meet with most of the members here just to get a grasp of what you all want for the district and what our future is and how we can assist our superintendent, how we can assist the schools. So thank you all for reaching out. I know there was some that couldn't make it. I do want to recognize Ms. Charlene Fletcher back there. These past few weeks, I've seen her work, and man, the agenda and the stuff we had ready for the volleyball team and everything else. She does a lot for us as a school board. I didn't see that coming in, seeing that. So I just want to make sure people notice. Thank you for the hard work, Ms. Charlene. I want to give if you guys don't remember the timeline for superintendent search, I want to report that to you all. So right now it's still open, January 21st to February 27th. The board is going to be provided with all applications on March 6th. The board finalists will be March 16th. Now during this time, I also have to give a shout out to Ms. Norma Ramirez, HR.
She's been working very hard on this as well. We didn't pick the search committee this time. She has reported that there is 10 applicants at this time. And also, I'm working with her, and we'll ask you all for your input on submitting or creating a principal committee. If that's something the principals want to be involved in, just to show their say-so on finalists, and they want to be involved as much as they can, and I agree with them. They're going to be working with them day to day, with input. So I'm going to work on a principal committee along with a public committee. If it's what they had mentioned earlier, maybe a staff member, and then a student, and then a parent from each school, something like that. We want to see if we can get the whole community involved in our next search. So then interviews will be the first week of April. The first week of April will be interviews, and then our recommendation will be made on April 20th. That'll be. All this is tentative, can change depending on the outcome, depending on the circumstances, but this is the timeline for
What was the last date?
April 20th. It's going to be our board meeting, and that's what
That's the selection.
that will be the recommendation. The
Recommendation or
process,
selection?
no, the selection process will be March 16th already. For the finalists, will be March 16th, and then we'll do interviews the first week of April.
Okay, what I mean by selection is actually selecting the.
Oh, yeah, April 20th.
Yeah.
Just a few more things. I want to congratulate the Cobre High cheer team. They took first at the NMSU Spirit competition. Also want to congratulate the Cobre wrestling team at regionals. Like Ms. Taylor reported, they have 9 athletes who are headed to state this weekend. Those athletes are Ted Galaz, Alexi Galaz, Ileana Duarte, Annalisa Garcia, Lexi Silva, Francis Sandoval, DJ Walker, Sam Trujillo, and Mr. Christian McBride. So I just want to wish them all luck this weekend there at state. Cobre boys in basketball and Cobre girls in basketball are doing well. I think they're wrapping up district plays, district games, so they're looking good. Good luck to them. Band members. I want to congratulate the band members. There was Joaquin, Joseph, and Mateo for making all-state band. So I just want to give a shout out to them. And last is the Cobre powerlifting. They hosted their 3rd annual meet in January. The boys took 3rd and the girls took 1st. So what I meant earlier is what we look at, and if I miss some of the stuff that Ms. McKay reported and Mr. Oyana, it's a good thing that we as a board are seeing our district succeed in so many different ways. So if I miss somebody here, I apologize if I missed the team, but that's kind of like where we all come together, and then do shout outs to our staff and to our student athletes. I think that's finally all I have. Let's go ahead and start.
Thank you. I just want to thank Mr. Gavin. Thank you for your work. I did meet with you, and it was successful, very informative. I think we're going the right direction. Thank you, Ms. Begay, for your service, and all of you. Thank you. And thank all the district for all they do for the kids.
Well, you guys covered everything that I'm smart enough to know. But no, like Gabby, I went to the Little Mermaid. My wife drugged me with my nose ring, and I enjoyed it. This is the second time I went to it. My granddaughter was in it the last time that I went, and one of the fish come by and gave me a shell.
Oh, yeah?
And but it was a very good thing. The kids were really good in it. And it's nice to have a meeting where we didn't whine and cry.
And you attended the Bayard Elementary
I go
Science Night.
I go to everything at the Bayard Elementary because I got 3 hoodlums in there.
If I may, I want to make one comment about the play, The Little Mermaid. This was a collaboration between the Cobre High School, Silver High School, and Aldo Leopold, as well as some of the elementary school participants from the different districts. I give a shout out to Mrs. Chavita and Mrs. Melissa Brown, as well as Laura Brown. They were the core foundation for that, and the school had other representatives there too. And so it was a great district county project, and it came off very, very well. The little kids did awesome.
Okay, awesome. Okay, now we'll move on to number 10, superintendent's report. Mr. Piper, before you start, I'm going to just recommend that next meeting, we put on there something where you're able to report just like we are, instead of kind of labeling it, and then that's all you can talk about. And it just, we need,
Yeah, thank you for that, because I did tell Ms. Fletcher back there, current events, because there's so much that comes up. I mean, I'll leave my office to go tell her something that I want on an agenda. By the time I get to her office, I've forgotten it. But there's so much that happens during the week that I think maybe we just call it like some current events, some of the stuff that's going to happen in the future. So I'd appreciate that, and having a little flexibility will sure help. So first of all, Grant County Days, my first experience with that. Wow. I mean, it's quite a process. A lot of networking face to face. Actually had some time to speak, to the governor and lieutenant governor. So, being there and I guess in the position that I'm in with the school district and stuff, I mean, I felt really important, and our kids are, but was able to tell her about some of the great things that, were going on. I mean, we've got 2 spotlight schools. The rest are all traditional. I mean, we're making some gains. We've got some great things going on. So was happy to share that. Legislative visit, I think it winds up this week. So we'll end up seeing where we're at. Basically, the talk is maybe a 1% raise, but maybe nothing. And that's going to be tough for some staff. The one consolation is they're looking at paying 80% of healthcare benefits for those staff. But we do have staff that don't take advantage of the healthcare benefits. So they will not see any increase in salary or savings due to healthcare benefits. Capital outlay projects, we're waiting for basically the fiscal agent to give us the notice that, hey, she's got the authority to access the funds, let them loose, and then we'll go. School security is a big one. I've met with all the principals. We've talked about blind spots where there's cameras needed, and we've talked about keyless entry. The middle school doesn't have keyless entry, and they don't even have the same key for each hallway. So it's always sort of a guess when you try to go. And I think the keyless entry just allows people to, like, for observations and stuff, when I go, it's like, oh, this key didn't work, that key didn't work, and by the time I figure it out, somebody's gotten out of their seat and opened the door for me. So it's much easier just to use a keyless entry and walk right in and do that and do the observations. So looking forward to that. And then the softball stuff. I mean, getting that stadium built with some nice seating and that. Additionally, when we're talking about, some capital outlay, we're also going to look at the road grant and maybe add some additional stuff possibly through that road grant to enhance the facility as we go forward with that project. So the next to last thing I have is the NOSBA Excellence in Student Achievement Award. And I believe it's in your packet. And so what this is you as a school board can nominate an individual, an organization, something like that, to where they're recognized. The first award is free. It doesn't cost the district a thing. Any additional award is $50. What I would like to do, and the deadline for our time to submit is March 6th. So this is, a real short timeline. But what I would like to do is I'd like to suggest some stuff to you. And I mean, you guys can decide, get it to me, and I can submit it. I don't think it's anything that really needs board approval. I think I think I'd really like to recognize the schools that are the spotlight schools. Because, I mean, I think that actually came out in one of our visits, that, hey, where's some recognition for, this accomplishment? Because it's the top 25% of all schools in the state. So when you're hitting that spotlight, that's quite an achievement. And one of the other things,
That's the report I'm gonna give them, hopefully in a
Oops.
few days.
Oops,
No,
okay,
yeah.
so, so the recipient could be a school board member, administrator, staff member, parent, community member, volunteer, or other. And I think, just a plaque that those schools could hang up in their entryway would be nice. And then possibly Freeport. I mean, what Freeport does for our district is unbelievable. I mean, I've never seen an organization that has just opened their arms and given so freely. I mean, Little Mermaid's one of them. The food drives, those sort of things that are going.
Our
So-
manufactured housing.
Yes, yeah, so that as well. So, unless there's an objection, I would like to do this due to the timeline. And I mean, if you have something else, email me. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to get these submitted this week, because if we try to wait for an approval thing and I think this is something that, I just feel really we need to do. And, just let me know if there's any objections. If there's no objection, I'd like to do the 2 schools in Freeport. And if you have somebody else you'd like to recognize, let me know. I just think it's time we recognize, some of what's going on.
Could we also do the Kiwanis, since they sponsor our Student of the
Okay.
Month?
Okay? So, if that's good, I'll get that done. We'll get a requisition done so that we're there procurement wise, whatever needs to be done. And,
And the other one, Mr. Piper, is the Commons. I know they also
with the
help.
food?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. And I think did you all receive this in an email?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, so I kept thinking, well, somebody will send me something, and then I thought, and I said, you know what, we'll just go ahead and do this and make sure we recognize everybody. And then finally, fundraising requests, the fundraising, I mean, I look at it and I'm going, wow, there's a lot of fundraising going on. But, the enchilada dinner on Friday from the baseball team, incredible. I can't believe they fried that many eggs. Their goal was 1,000 plates, and I haven't heard how many they actually sold. But it was a good meal and a lot of work, a lot of volunteers, and really appreciate everything the community does, because they're supporting every organization, and really appreciate all they do.
Well, my wife jumps me almost every day. So this is for you to take care of, because I'm tired of being this blunt. She says she'd like to get notifications on money for donations and things before the day before.
Of
I don't know.
fundraisers?
Yeah, for donations or fundraisers, and because I don't know if it's the kids aren't giving them to her, but yeah,
Okay.
I have noticed a few things that you get it the night before they need it. And it's, when you're living on Social Security, you don't have a whole lot of money left over.
And I'm thinking some of that is probably the kids. Because I mean, I can remember my kids and, it's like, where's this project? I said, I know they turned it in. I know they did it because I helped them with it. And it's still in their backpack, they didn't turn it in.
Well, we go through their backpacks and it's
Okay.
not there, so,
Okay. So, and I think sometimes a little text message notice, I'll have them make sure that they get that stuff out to you as well. So,
Thank you. We'll move on to number 11, executive session. Notice is hereby given so that the Cobre Board of Education will meet in executive session for the following purposes as permitted under the New Mexico Open Meetings Act. A, so that legal counsel can update the board on pending litigations as permitted under section 10-15-1 and 7 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, specifically to discuss 1, Aneta Costa versus Cobre Consolidated School District, B608CV 2024-00026. Number 2, Cecilia Joyce Varela versus Cobre Consolidated School District, B608CV-2024-00028. Number 3, Diana Davis versus Cobre Consolidated School District, B-608CV 2024-00031. Number 4, Melissa Minus versus Cobre Consolidated School District, B608CV 2024-00029. And number 5, Marine Peru, ETAL versus Cobre Consolidated School District, B608CV 2023-00280. And section B, as permitted under the section 1015-1H2 of the New Mexico Open Meeting Act, to discuss limited personnel matters, specifically for legal counsel to advise regarding employee complaints. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Yes,
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for the reasons just listed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Will be roll call, Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. McGee?
Yes.
Ms. Harden?
Yes.
And Mr. Rubin?
yes.
Myself, yes. We are now in executive session. I think so. Ms. Kayla?